The idea for the Ventress film was to create a trailer for a movie that never comes out.
The Asajj Ventress film definitely came about as just wanting to make my cosplay come to life. We ended up coming up with some ideas for this trailer of going to different locations and just kind of making the coolest highlight reel we possibly could and just get as many badass scenes as possible. And the Asajj Ventress film was born. First starting to concept the Asajj Ventress costume, I came across Adam Fisher's design on ArtStation for Asajj Ventress, and he had done a really cool alternative costume for her that I just absolutely fell in love with. I wanted this costume to be as accurate to Adam Fisher's model as possible, so I spent a lot of time just poring over the photographs and the printouts that we have of his costume. I worked with him and my friend Wyatt Buxton to get the 3D prints right, and it ends up looking really cool on screen. I have had no swordplay experience at all. This was the first time picking up a saber. We came up with the choreography looking at a lot of videos of Asajj Ventress in the Clone Wars. One of the amazing things about Asajj Ventress, she uses 2 lightsabers, and so I had to learn how to get dexterity in both my left and my right arm. Gosh, Vanessa was a breeze to work with. She took to it so quickly. She's a really fast learner. She was really passionate. I think one of the best things with her was we just seemed to be really in tune with one another's movements. She was able to more or less take our direction and just get good at it. The makeup was easily the hardest part of the costume. Originally, I was just using water-based white face paint and brushing it onto my skin. The issues with that is it came out really patchy. One of the biggest game changers was getting my airbrush. That honestly just elevated the look so much. I was able to get a really smooth, flawless finish to the white base of the skin. The markings came out a lot better.
We wanted 3 different biomes that would look utterly different from each other. We went for a really snowy area, we went for a forested area, and we went for the desert. Outside of cosplay and filmmaking, we're really passionate about travel and exploring the natural world. So to be able to double dip on a trip like this and film a passion project while we were out visiting these otherworldly places was really rewarding.
I had no special effects experience before this project. Pretty much if Rena was able to set something up for me in After Effects where I was just keyframing something, I would be able to do that, step by step. But for this, I decided to dive more into Element 3D and kind of the Saber plugin. I was able to really fine-tune things and tweak things to get it exactly how I wanted. And one of my proudest scenes is the shot where the bounty hunter is shooting his blaster. That entire scene I was able to do the special effects for, and that makes me really proud to see how that came together.
So I had dabbled in 3D before starting this, but not too much. It's one thing to follow a tutorial and make some lightsaber effects. It's another thing to take all of these effects, put them in scenes that make sense in a story, string that all together and just have it all make sense, have it all be consistent. I think that was tough. Yeah, so there's just a very steep learning curve for getting into 3D, but once things start to click, it's very addicting.
I had to direct, I had to produce, I had to edit, I had to act, I had to source. Every project that we work on, we learn a lot.
So I was essentially learning Blender from the ground up. And learning it this time around, and maybe I was older and wiser, it just kind of started to click a little bit more. I didn't know if I was going to be able to pull it off. I didn't know if it was going to come out looking like a video game. But after a lot of finessing and fine-tuning, I think we got it looking pretty solid for what was essentially a beginner's stab at 3D.
When you're trying to play jack of all trades while filmmaking, it becomes very mentally taxing. You spend all of your time trying to get just good enough to achieve your vision. And, you know, I don't do this full-time. I don't do this professionally. I have a full-time job outside of this. And what ends up happening when you're trying to be good at everything in the filmmaking process, you run yourself dry. Your project's gonna get pushed out months and months longer as you're trying to learn this new skill. You could just hire that out to a professional and let them take care of it. You know, release a little bit of that control, and I think you'll be happier with the outcome. They're good. Good job. High five. Too slow.
So working on a huge project during a pandemic, during just these crazy times that we live in, it was pretty easy to get a bit down and in the dumps, mental health wise.
My biggest fear while working on this project definitely would be that I wasn't going to like it at the end. You know, you spend so much time and money on a project, and I was really worried that it was going to be a letdown.
It was really tough to manage the timing of filming stuff with like weather and trips and availability with friends. But through that hardship, we definitely learned a lot about how to manage projects like this and how to be more realistic in future projects.
Where do you draw the line of this becoming a fun hobby that you do in your spare time versus some serious work to get a very professional outcome? And I struggle with giving myself boundaries with video projects, and it just kind of eats away at your soul. And by the end of it, if you don't plan it well, like we didn't, you kind of just hate your project. You love it because it's done and it turned out great, but the process was definitely a struggle because you were trying too hard to do what Hollywood does. And you have to remember that you are not Hollywood. You are not a team of people. You're just kind of a one-man band, just two people working on a project for fun. And I think it's really important not to get caught up in the details. I think you really need to just step back and have fun with the process and not take yourself too seriously.
My biggest piece of advice for new filmmakers is reel in those ideas. It's really, really tempting to just go big. The piece of advice that I would have needed to give myself in retrospect is be more realistic. Now that it's all over, I definitely feel a big sigh of relief.
Yeah.
Shh, sorry. Quiet on the set. I think when I look back at this in a few years, I want to just remember everyone's faces and just how excited they were to see all of this come together. We're finally wrapping up our Assange trailer.
Except for the drone shot that we have to film tomorrow.
That's cool.
That's pretty good. That's it.
Got it.
Okay.
Action.
eye whites, dude.
What is the white of your eye called?
The white of your eye.
That's it? There's no like
Not the eye white.
Iris, and then there's pupil. But eye whites?
No.
Sydney, can you bring your head to your right just a tiny bit? Or like your whole body?
I thought you were gonna kiss me! That was so scary!
She puts on the costume and all of a sudden she's real.
laugh.
I wasn't trying to.
Shit, I'm sorry, Rena.
Did you get him?
Yeah. Wait, all of a sudden my nose is like really running because it's cold.
Yeah.
Okay, costume check. How do I look?
You look great.
Really?
Yeah. Nice. 3, 2, 1, action. Alright, the look is all damn. Cut.
That should be perfect.
Cut.
Today's July, what's today? July 23rd?
Balaclava.
Yeah.
This is Stormtrooper looking through a book, I mean binoculars. And 3, 2, 1, action.
See? Don't you feel powerful when you put it on?
I do.
I get why
I
Kyler
really
wears
do.
one. Just
Go for it. Go. Action. Oh, he missed.
That was. I was like aiming for your mouth too.
that's what he said.
Oh god. Action. That was perfect. So rip his jugular out.
What, might as well just do it then. Yeah, right.
No, really?
Come on, just end it.
3, 2, 1, action. That was rad.
Yeah, guys, it felt rad.
Good. Let's do that again.
I feel like Bigfoot.
Always nothing either. Yeah.
Like we'll be in the back trying to throw a couple racks. I'll be in the front trying to give them what they want. out in the middle, wanna get a little taste. Go 100 in this place till our memories erase. Go 100 in this place till I'm placed memories. Go 100 in this place till I'm erased. Go out in the middle, wanna get a little taste. Go 100 in this place till our memories erased. Yeah.
I go 1 0 0, I go 1 0 0, I go 1 0 0, I go 1 0 0. Need 100 or it's nothing, need 100 or it's nothing, need 100 or it's nothing, need 100.